as everyone comes in, we can say, and how's everyone's marketplace going? Let's go around the room and let's just talk about the marketplace. Obviously, with interest rates being on hold on Tuesday, which is what I predicted. As I said in the beginning of the year, we'll see our first rate cut in February. We'll see our next one in July. I know they're meeting every 2 months, but it should be around July, and then our next one in October. So we'll see another 50 basis points come down, I believe, by the end of the year. But how's everyone's marketplace going? We'll start with yourself, Leonidas.
Yeah, it's very strong here, to be honest. Most things are moving. We were in a pretty good price point.
What is your median?
Around 800, but most of the suburbs kind of, like if you want a 3-bedroom house, it's around $1 million, but we've got a few townhouses in the area as well, which kind of pulls that median down. But townhouses at the moment are just, they don't even last a day. It's unbelievable. And even any home around the $1 million mark is just, yeah, it's quickly moving.
So days on market where would your days on market be?
Oh, it wouldn't be more than a week at the moment.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. If it's close to $2 million, it's just a lot slower. It'll probably take about a month. But anything priced around the $1 million, even up to 1.2, I would say, it would be under contract within the first week.
Right. Okay. That's amazing. And your core suburb area is?
Kind of between, I do most of my work between South Penrith and Kingswood at the moment.
South Penrith and Kingswood.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And that'll be really good, guys, when we start the sessions. And welcome everyone as you're joining in. We'll wait a few more minutes before we do the formal introductions, is to obviously talk about your specific marketplaces, just the medium house price. So South Penrith and Kingswood. Fantastic. What about you? Well, Jess, obviously we met this week up in Townsville, and what a hot market. It's less than 7 days, which is incredible, which is really, really strong.
Yeah. I think personally I'm on 8. My median sold about 600. I think across the city it's about 550. And yeah, it's good. The bigger stuff over a mil will take a bit longer. But even we're seeing a bit more movement in that sort of high 9 stuff that we've never really seen. It used to like gut out at like anything over 750. Everyone would be like, no, but now we're seeing like 4 or 5 days for market for the up to a mil stuff, which is good.
Yeah. Okay. Really well done. Okay. And which is really interesting, because our marketplace, we're not talking about marketplaces where there's $2.5 million average for these guys to be $1 million performers. So they're what we would call bread and butter marketplaces. And Paul, how are you finding the market? How's your days on market? What's happening? What are you seeing?
I've definitely noticed a shift at the start of this year to a more positive. A lot more buyers coming out, but also they're in a more confident position to make decisions. Whereas I remember September to November was very, buyers inspecting 20 houses but not placing any offers on them. So definitely an upswing.
So on average, how many buyers coming through a property before it's sold?
So I don't measure it like that, but every week we measure how many buyers we have on average at every open for inspection. So I remember September last year, it was 4 or under.
Yep.
Per home per weekend. January we hit 6, and last week we had 9.
Okay.
So pretty significant increase.
Yeah, that's more than double. And yourself, Leonidas, numbers of buyers to go through a property before it's sold?
So you'd be looking around with a pretty busy open homes. So your townhouses will get honestly around 20 to 30, and in a few suburbs you'd be around the same amount, between 20 and 30 buyers within the week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and Jess, in your marketplace?
Well, first weekends of the opens and stuff, like one of them we see 17. It depends on the price range of the market, but yeah, anything under that mil we'll see between 10 and 20. Anything over is only up to about 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I think it's and welcome everyone. And we're taking a slight tangent on the topic today in regards to obviously before we get into the session, just talking about how many buyers are going through properties before they're actually sold. And these are a really important number to understand, because it gives you great clarity when speaking to vendors, when pitching for business, and more importantly, it gives you great clarity when we're doing price adjustments and making sure that we're pricing property correctly. Because if we're getting lots of buyers through and no one's making an offer, there's a sign that needs a price adjustment. If we're getting very few buyers through and obviously not making a sale, there's another sign that we need a price adjustment. So the number of actual buyers that visit each property before it actually sells is a critical KPI and a great litmus test for you guys over a 12-month period to have an indication on how the market is progressing, right? So for example, great conversations you can have right now is Mrs. Vendor, before the interest rate rise decreases, we were having 15 buyers per property before we sold. Now that we've seen a decrease in the interest rate, the activity has increased and we're seeing about 18 buyers per property before it's sold, and vice versa. And that really gives you a great litmus test on what's actually happening in the marketplace. So I encourage everyone, it's in, I'm sure in everyone's CRM system, how many buyers go through, just add up the last 10 sales you've done and average it out over the 10 sales to get that great KPI. But without further ado, I see we've got a few people jumping on. So we're past the 11:30 mark. So guys, a big welcome to another virtual session of Black Salt. And today's session is breaking the $1 million barrier. And we've got some great agents to share their insights and stories on how to get there. But I hope everyone's having a great week and a great start to obviously the month, and obviously offer a great March as well. Anything you'd like to add, Maria, before I start sharing the screen?
No, good morning, everyone. I thought maybe I was late because you were just, going from the, oh, no, it's already started. No, there's quite a few people jumping on. Welcome, everyone. I'm looking forward to this. Good to see you again, Jess. I don't know if you guys have already spoken about this, but we just spent a few days up in beautiful Townsville with the guys, and it was just really lovely to see everyone in their patch, in their homes, in their offices. It was really fantastic. And welcome, Paul, and welcome, Leonidas. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, love it. And we've got people from all over the country. I see WA, we've got Queensland in, we've got South Australia, we've got Melbourne, we've got New South Wales. So big welcome from right across the country. All right, let's get straight into it. Well, welcome, as I said, guys, really excited about today's session. Obviously, I know a number of these individuals who are doing amazing things. We've got a special guest, and today we're featuring Leonidas Proestos, who's been following Leonidas on Instagram with the Leonidas Touch. If you haven't been, please go to Instagram, and it is the Leonidas Touch, isn't it, Leonidas? Have I got that right?
Fantastic. Yeah, correct.
And I've been following Leonidas for some time, and I just love what you do, putting yourself out there, and can't wait for you to share your story. Obviously, we've got the beautiful Jess Whaites from Whaites & Co. in Townsville, who achieved her $1 million status 3 years into listing and selling. So a huge congratulations, Jess. And of course, our Agents Agency Boutique Office of the Year. Extraordinary things in your first year. And of course, we've got the veteran in the team, Mr. Paul Organtzidis, who took a little bit longer than most people to get to $1 million agent, but it doesn't matter how long it takes you, as long as, obviously, if that's your goal, to achieve that status. So welcome, guys. Can you give a big wave so we can see where you are?
They say enjoy the journey, Manos. That's why I took my time. So
that's exactly right.
Well said, Paul.
Well said. Well said, buddy. Really well said. Okay, so today's session, guys, I want to I'll start by sort of giving you some insight. First of all, a big shout out to our industry partners. Black Salt cannot happen with all these industry partners who support us in obviously delivering the Black Salt sessions, and of course the big event in December for those 2 days. And excited to, if we haven't shared it, lock it in your diary, guys. December the 2nd, so Tuesday the 2nd of December for day 1, Agents in the Field, training agents in the field. And a little bit different this year. On day 2, we've moved the leadership one to an implementation day. So we're super excited that day 2 is actually going to be the implementation day, because we've got all the workbooks and all the strategies, and the feedback that we've had from obviously the attendees is they want an implementation day. So actually building out your sales framework, all your prospects, your prospecting, and how do you achieve a PB in the following year. So super excited about that. So lock it in your diaries. And of course, our agency members, which are many of the Black Salt members, we will have our annual gala evening as well on the 3rd, on Wednesday the 3rd. So please lock it in. So let's go. So today's session, right? The session insights. Breaking the $1 million barrier isn't just about numbers, right? It really isn't about numbers. And I know sometimes we talk about, okay, why is it important to achieve the $1 million status? And of course, everyone's goal is a little bit different. And it's not so much achieving that dollar figure. It's not so much about achieving the dollar figure. It's more about achieving your processes, the discipline, and the structure to be able to achieve your targets. Whatever that is, whether it's $500,000, $1 million, $2 million. But what we've uncovered, those agents that are consistently breaking that $1 million barrier, and it is because they've done the simple stuff, the boring stuff, for lack of a better expression, consistently over a long period of time. Okay? So everyone needs to understand that, right? And also it does, you know, obviously it's strategy, it's mindset, and it's execution. But the top 3 things that I've noticed, I've been doing this for over 20 years now, and we've come across many, many agents. And you can have 2 agents in the same office. Let's see if people can relate to this. You can have 2 agents in the same office, same marketplace, access to the same tools. And you have one agent who struggles to achieve their targets, and you have one agent who is absolutely smashing it. Why is that the case? Has anyone ever wondered? Normally, it's because of self-belief. Normally. It all starts with your mindset. Now, the next one is the numbers are a direct reflection of activity. So when someone says to me, I'm not achieving my targets, what that tells me is you're actually not doing the activity. It's probably a little sign there, signpost, that you're probably not doing the activity to be able to reach those numbers, right? And there's more yeses and more nos, right? So one of the best training sessions that I've ever been to, and some may know the name Michael Spillane in Queensland. Who knows Michael Spillane in Queensland? Yeah, so back in the good old Glenn Twiddle training days, he was at a presentation, and Michael Spillane was one of the first agents that I'd met very early in my career that was a $1 million agent. And I remember it was a 45-minute training session, and he came in with 2 folders, these arch lever folders, right? And they were full of appraisals, handwritten appraisal documents. And he stood up there and he goes, I will share my secret as to why I'm a $1 million agent. And he goes, basically, I'm just going to talk about all the no's. In other words, all the listings, all the presentations that he went pitched for business, and the vendor said, no, I'm going with an opposition agent. And he started going through it. Can you recall that, Maria? And he goes through the first one. Who was there? Who was there with us at the time? Paul, were you there with us? was in Queensland.
I feel like I've seen it, but he didn't do it at an ARIC or anything like that, did
No,
he?
no, it wasn't at Eric. It's one of the Glen Twiddle training
I
sessions.
thought Manos, I thought we had him at one of our or was that Glenn that we had at
No,
our
that was Glenn. That was Glenn. But anyway, so it was really entertaining, but also informative. He was just going through the whole his two folders. He said, "I lost this listing because I arrived 5 minutes late. I lost this listing because they said they had a friend of a friend of a friend, and the mother's cousin that was an agent giving it to them. I lost this one because they didn't like the color of my tie. I lost this one because I parked my car at the front of the property. I lost this one, and I remember all the reasons that people gave him that they didn't list with him. And he just went on for 45 minutes. I want you to understand, 45 minutes of not the wins, of the no's. And then at the end of the session, he took his two folders and he just dropped them on the ground, and it was a great big thud. And he looked at the crowd and he goes, and that's why I'm $1 million agent, is because I've had more no's to get to my yeses, and they go hand in hand. So when we talk about becoming $1 million agent, the numbers are a direct reflection of activity. And then, of course, number 3, discipline over motivation, right? Discipline over motivation. And you mentioned that again in our pre-warm-up, Jess, discipline over motivation, because motivation is very, very difficult to keep at 100% throughout the process because of the ups and downs of real estate. And so it must be discipline. And then, of course, something, and I didn't want this to be a business planning session, but if you wanted to be $1 million agent today, let's put it in the chat box, right? Let's put it in the chat box. Do you know your numbers? Do you know what you have to do? And what I mean by your numbers, it's really simple. How many sales you have to do to be $1 million agent? Who knows that? Yep, go for it, Paul. How many sales do you need? So you're on mute.
86 sales.
86 sales. Okay, so your average commission is about $12,000. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, 12,000. So 86 sales. How many appraisals do you have to do? So how many listings to do your 86? Do you have any withdrawals?
94 listings.
No, 94 listings. You know, 8 of them are going to withdraw, right? To get your 86 sales. To get your 94 listings, how many appraisals do you have to do?
220.
Sorry, how many?
220.
220. So 220 appraisals get you the 96 listings, which get you the 94 listings, which get you the 86 sales, which get you to the $1 million bracket, right? So the 220 appraisals. Do you know what prospecting you have to do to get to your 220 appraisals?
My prospecting has changed a lot now, so I don't do as much of it now because a lot of it's inbound.
Inbound, absolutely, 100%. And I love your strategy. And I don't want to jump the gun from your session, Paul, but one of your strategies is I remember having a conversation with you some time ago that you weren't great with your database management and calling people up and all that. A show of hands who may relate to that, right? I think so, right? But Paul's got a great strategy. He friends them all on social media. And so he lets his social media do the connection. And Paul, do you want to just share a little story from your social media that you're probably getting more likes and thumbs up from your clients than you do from your family? Would that be right?
Yeah, that's right. And it's weird. Like I did an open for inspection just on Saturday in my patch. And this lady came in. I did not recognize her. I checked her in. I said, "Oh, you're in our database." And she goes, "We bought off you something like 10 years ago." And I said, "Oh, that's great." I said, must have been when me and Gina. She goes, yeah, we remember your wife. How are the 3 kids going? And I'm like, how did you know that? So you sort of forget that they follow you and you sort of come on the journey with you, and you don't even have to put any effort into that. Facebook does.
Yeah. And all you have to do is be present, be consistent in your social media posting, and that's the way you stay engaged, and that's a great way of being omnipresent, right? And the most important thing that in omnipresence is making sure that you're an agent that is active, and that's all the vendor wants to know. So when they're ready, they know that, oh, Paul is been listing and selling. We see him always on social media. The reticular activating system is working in the background. If I'm going to get someone to appraise my property or thinking of an agent, they're going to reach out to obviously Paul from P&G. Okay, so it is important to understand the psychology and the tools that you have available for you. And Leonidas will be sharing some of that as well, because he's very good on his social media and what he's trying to achieve through that. Okay. Any other highlights, guys? So we've talked about the numbers. Anyone else know?
We've got some more numbers in the chat. So Daniel said 100, about 100, and Mark
100,
71 sales.
71 sales. And then, but can we reverse engineer all that activity, right? So about 100 sales, which means probably if there's a 10% shrinkage or withdrawal rate, I should say, it's about 110. How many appraisals to get you 110 sales, right? And they're the numbers, right? And obviously, and it can go for any amount of GCI that you want to do. And then ball it back down to the fundamentals, right? The fundamentals is, of course, your appraisals, right? So I can't recall. I was scrolling through social media yesterday on our flight back from Townsville, and I think it was a coach of, and the most important number for any real estate agent is appraisals. And that's why I always say last week, this week, use that process. Okay, moving forward. So you can see my screen. Okay, let's do our first introduction. I want to introduce, obviously, Leonidas Proestos. Have I said that right, Leonidas?
Yeah, Leonidas.
Greek name.
Yes, it is.
Welcome to the Black Salt
virtual
session, and thank you so much of your time, giving of your time. I've really enjoyed watching you on social media. I connected with you late last year, and I've been watching your social media page, the Leonidas Touch, and your pursuit of becoming $1 million agent. So before, obviously, we go into your session, do you want to just share your story, where you're at, the title of your obviously your program, and of course your Instagram handle, so everyone can actually go in there and like your page and follow your page.
Yeah, cool. So I started in real estate in 2000, or as a standalone in 2019. A year before that, I was an assistant agent, and then I went to a standalone agent, and there's definitely been some challenges along the way and learning a lot of things. I was projecting an upwards direction for the first few years of my career. I actually got to a year where I did 621,000. And I learned a lot during that time. A lot of mistakes as well, hiring maybe the wrong people and not understanding my weaknesses, which then seen a bit of a downtrend after the 621. But now we're heading back in the direction of an upwards trend, which is really good. And I've learned a lot, and I've learned what my weaknesses are and to allocate those jobs and just stand out of the fucking way from doing them, to be honest.
I love it. I love it. And for everyone to know, you're in South Penrith, Kingswood in New South Wales.
Yeah, Penrith region is the general region. But those would be the two most suburbs that I do most of my sales at the moment. Correct.
Fantastic. 850,000 medium house price.
Around 800.
Yep. Fantastic. So, and your last quarter is one of your best quarters that you've just done, was 170.
188. Yeah, that would be my second best quarter of my career.
Fantastic. Okay, so you keep that for 4 quarters. We're going to be just shy of the $1 million mark, but that's okay.
Yeah,
again, it's the goal. But who would love to see watch Leonidas's journey and see him up on stage at Black Salt to have cracked $1 million? No pressure, Leonidas. No pressure. But yeah, so talk about your Instagram page and what you've set out to do and why you set out to do it.
Yeah, so with my Instagram page, I've been making content since the first year that I was a standalone agent, so since 2019, and I've been trying a lot of different things. Originally, I was making content towards, I guess, sellers or people that lived in the region, and it's really difficult to crack that niche because there isn't really a niche for that. There's not an algorithm for people that want to sell their house because it's not something that people do all the time. And I've been studying a lot of people that master social media, and they basically said make content for I guess an algorithm or a small group of people, and then the rest will follow. So then I've kind of changed that mindset and really started directing my content towards real estate agents. And I've seen significant growth in the past year. I've only made that change last year. I went from 2,000 followers. I'm about to crack 10,000 on Instagram within that year. So that change has seen significant growth, and it's opened up a whole new referral base of leads because now agents, they follow me, they're always messaging me. And with Penrith, a lot of people tend to move to coastal towns, and a lot of coastal agents will say, hey, I've got someone that's moving from Penrith, here's a lead for you. And so it's built up a really good referral base there. So that's kind of the direction that I've chose to do with my Instagram, and it's been working a lot better compared to the, I guess, earlier days of the content making.
Yeah, Leonidas, can I just say how much I love that? And something that I've shared with many people, I always say, make sure that your omnipresence in your local community is to be seen everywhere, right? And to be known in your local community, but equally as important to be known within your real estate community. And that is your fellow colleagues, whether you're part of a network or whether you're part of a community, whether you're part of the real estate gym with Tom Panos or the Black Salt, or whoever. Make sure that you are connecting with people and sharing your insights, because building relationships with other agents is absolutely key to grow your sales business. Absolutely key. Plus that mentorship, plus that accountability process as well. If you're not doing it, you're missing out. And we're probably speaking to the converted, because people obviously on this session today, I want to be part of that sort of community. So it is really important, really, really important. Now, I'm not sure if Justin is on, Justin Spagnolo on, but he's huge on networking with other agents and getting leads to helping achieve those targets. No, really well done.
Can I
Okay.
ask a question on the social media?
Yeah, please.
Leonidas, do you have like an ideal week or a schedule that prompts you to go, I need to post something on this day at that time, or certain times throughout the week, or is it just activities that pop up that you just naturally pull your phone out?
Look, I used to do the whole scheduling, and I've changed a lot of things with my content. I found when I was scheduling, I know they say be consistent with your content and just put it out there. But I've learned a few things that work really well in terms of engagement and getting following. I found when I was scheduling and just pressuring myself to put all this content out there, I was putting out shit content. Now I do have a minimum standard. I like to at least post 2 videos a week as a minimum basis, but I really focus on the quality and what value I'm giving people, because I feel like the algorithm's not as friendly as it used to be. And if you make content that's not, I guess, shareable or watchable, I feel like they punish you now. So as a minimum, I aim for 2 times a week, but I'm focused more of the quality of the content that I'm putting out now.
Yeah, fantastic. And one of the contents that you actually put out there is obviously you're actually door knocking homes. You're door knocking, going live and door knocking homes. And talk us through your obviously your door knocking experience, because that's how obviously I got obviously attracted to the Night of Touch. Oh, this guy is doing something a little bit different. Number one, not many people like doing door knocking. You are obviously doing it religiously. Talk me through your door knocking strategy on a weekly basis. What is it?
Yeah, now that I'm a little bit busier compared to my, I guess, earlier days, it's very simple. I really only door knock around success or upcoming auctions. It's just an easier knock. And if I'm going to have to allocate X amount of time to knock, I want I want it to be the best type of knock, and that is genuinely the best type of knock in my opinion, because you've got information that is valuable to homeowners, or you've got something coming up on the street which again is valuable to the homeowners. So, but when you start out cold knocking, absolutely you have to do it, but that's kind of what I directed towards now. And in terms of putting it on social media and things like that, I got the idea. I saw these solar guys make some content about it, and then I tried to look if anyone was doing it in real estate. No one has, and really no one still is. And it works really well because, like you said, people don't like doing it and they like to learn from it. But I'll be honest, ever since I've started posting it, the person that's learned the most is myself, because I now watch it go back and I watch myself do these door knocks. I go, why the hell did I say that? Or why didn't I say this? And it's made me such a better door knocker. If you look at the door knock videos I posted this time last year to now, I'm not even the same person. Like the amount of skill level I've jumped by watching my own videos is unbelievable. If you're not going to post it, I highly recommend just recording your door knocking sessions or even your phone call sessions, and you'll become so much better.
What a great insight, Leonidas. That is a phenomenal insight. Practice, as we know, makes perfect, but don't let better get in the way of perfect as well. So don't let perfect get in the way of better. Just go out there and do it, and just keep doing it, and you just continually improve. How many hours a week? So, and I love how you mentioned the high impact activity. And I totally agree with you. I think and I'm assuming, Leonidas, when you started your career, you were just doing cold door knocking without a reason, or around, not around success stories and listings. Would that be right?
Yeah, to be honest, when I first started, expired listings were a lot more popular than they were now. So I'll put my hand up and say I was definitely doing other agents' listings or expired listings, and skip ins. I loved knocking skip ins. They were one of my favorite knocks. So.
And how many hours would you do a week now of door knocking?
Now I'm around an hour and a half to 2 hours a week. So I try to get out there once a week.
Fantastic, fantastic. Awesome. Okay. Growth is messy. I'm still figuring it all out. Go for it. What's your 5 top tips?
Yes. So what I mean by growth is messy, and I'm still figuring it all out. I've been doing this for, some time now. And as I mentioned at the start of this session, you figure it out along the way. You start making some money, you get excited, and you're all right, we need to allocate this much for branding and spend this much on social media. I made a lot of mistakes on social media at the start. I dumped like $20,000 into this person that was going to help me build my account, which I then learned it just wasn't working. And I guess you could call it a waste of money, but I learned a lot from it. So that's when I say I'm still figuring it out, those lessons can be expensive. Hiring the wrong people or hiring too many people at once, because you just get that growth and you get really excited and you want to do all the things to get to $1 million writer. But again, I've learned a lot from that, and now I'm really careful.
That's 2 invaluable insights, Leonidas. Number one, like sometimes we get people, obviously represent that flashy new strategy on social media, throw a whole bunch of money at it and hope to get leads, but you found out that it doesn't work. And obviously the content that you're producing is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's free. You're doing it yourself, but it's authentic, and that's got a better cut through than, having an agency do a lot of your marketing.
And the ironic thing about all of that is when I was spending all that money on, someone doing my videos and I had to do all this script work, that actually took more time out of my day as well, where now I'm just filming what I'm doing, the job. I'm just, I'm actually doing the job, which is going to get me listings, and I'm also making content out of it as well. So I'm putting less time into it, less money into it, and the engagement is 1,000 times, if not more. So yeah.
Love it, love it. Bad years happen.
Yes, they do. So obviously everything that I just discussed there, in terms of, you have all the momentum, you're excited, you're building everything, and you think you're doing the right things, and then you quickly learn that, things aren't going the way that you want them to, and you're bleeding cash essentially because you're spending it on all these marketing things. And it just happens. Sometimes bad years happen, and when all these things happen, it is easy to lose, I guess, your confidence and your motivation, and heading in the downwards direction can be the wrong momentum, but it's still momentum. So it's really important to, you know, put those in the budget and make sure you learn from them and make sure that it doesn't happen again. And then that kind of goes in my next point, where it means falling off doesn't mean you failed. My best year was 621,000, and then it went down to 400,000 the year after that. So yeah, again, learning what you've done wrong, really narrow in what you're doing wrong or what you're not good at, so you can then fix those things. And now
And what
I'm
do you
actually
think? What was the what do you think? What was the one thing missing in the following year that obviously you went from 600 down to 400? Was it the marketplace as well? Was there a shrinkage in the number of transactions in your marketplace? Because sometimes we're really hard on ourselves, team. When there's a really strong market and lots of volume, obviously we're all experiencing higher volume. And then if there's a 20-30% in the number of transactions, if we and we don't increase our activity, we're not going to get a bigger market share. So what do you think? What did you learn from? What was it that was missing?
Yeah. One was market, but I really like, you know, there's always people listing and selling. So, and maybe that's being hard on myself, but the market definitely did change. And I just hired another assistant in the role, and the numbers weren't trekking in the right way. And I probably should have made the decision to let them go, but it's hard to let people go sometimes as well, especially when you just hire them.
Listen to any of this because as soon as this got on.
And oh, sorry, what was that?
No, it's all good.
Oh, and so then again this year you're kind of bleeding expenses, and then things were heading in a downwards direction, and a few things happened in my life in terms of, you know, losing some personal family members that I was close to. But you know, all these things happen, but you just need to kind of budget for it. And you know, it's not really an excuse, but you just got to expect that there's going to be times where you won't be performing at your, you know, top performance, and have the right mindset and I guess confidence that you will in other times, and you just need to budget for that and work through it.
100%. Love it. Do the work even when it's boring. Well, the boring stuff is what works.
Yeah, it's all
And what's
boring.
boring to you? What's boring to you? What's the boring work to you?
To be honest, I do love the door knocks. So I'm not going to say that's boring. I think the phone calls are boring. The you know, looking what's on the market, it's boring. You know, really, you know, the chase, all of it. It's not exciting. You know, you're looking at a computer for 3-4 hours, chasing all these listings and finding these things. You kind of walk out of the office and you forget what daylight looks like. So you know, that's not the exciting stuff. The exciting stuff's, I guess, doing the negotiating and getting the listing actually signed and putting a sold sticker up. But yeah, to get to the exciting part, you need to do all the boring crap.
Yeah, 100%.
And even with the content, you just need to be, you know, consistent with it. You know, to be honest, I do love making content, but it is pretty time consuming as well, and boring, and it might not necessarily get any engagement or views, which can make it depleting. But again, you just got to keep doing it.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it. What you find, you expend all the energy. A plane uses 80% of its energy getting off the runway, but once it's off the runway, it gets to cruising and altitude, and it's a lot easier. And of course, number 5.
Yeah, it will definitely take longer than you think. So like I learned a lot, you know. There'd be like last year, I thought I was going to get a lot closer to 1 million than I did. And I budgeted in all these listings that I was going to have, or I was promised, or these projects that I had, but sometimes things just don't work out. So the results can take a lot longer, but it'd be fair to say that I didn't earn it either. So, you know, you need to put more work in. You need a budget that things won't go right in terms of listings that you think you'll have, or listings that you think will sell. You know, you lose listings, or people change their mind on simply selling, which have happened before on some big comms that I was, you know, really hoping for to factor into the results. But you just got to keep showing up, and you know, you'll get the results when you've earned them.
Yeah, 100%. Leonidas, I'm really looking forward to seeing your journey, guys. If you don't know of Leonidas, please go to the Leonidas Touch as per the screen on Instagram, and click a follow, just to watch the progress, and do yourself a favor and go back 12 months and see some of Leonidas's original videos, and see how he's improved. But there's some great tips in there. Some of your dialogue in your your door knocking is great. Are you tracking your numbers, your appraisal to list ratio and listings and withdrawal rate? Are you tracking any of those numbers?
So the only thing I track is my appraisal rate.
Mhm.
I aim to get between 5 and 10 per week appraisals,
Yep.
and I consistently hit at least the 5 mark. So that's what I like to measure. I used to measure how many listings I'd get, but I'll be honest, it is just so demotivating when you're knocking for hours and it'll take so long to find a hot, ready listing that you're knocking on their door and they're going to be ready to sign straight away. So I get more motivated by, okay, how many people did I convince for them to give me their phone number? Like that's what gets me excited. And I know if I have the data, and the data that's harder to get.
We lost him, or
I thought it was me, but yeah, I think we're.
no?
You can get someone's number from a door knock. Really like door knocking, then you're going to have someone that's not getting as many messages and marketing information. So that's what I really strive to get, as many phone numbers as I can.
Yeah, I mean, what a great KPI, guys. So number one, I always say appraisals, belly to belly, appointments to give valuations on people's property, and then start the nurturing program is it's the key fundamental, it's the alpha and omega of achieving any target that you want, let alone the $1 million mark. But of course, as Leonidas put, also not to get demotivated when you're doing all this prospecting, and you're not getting listings and appraisals, but at least you're getting data and the potential of communicating with obviously your marketplace at a later stage. So really well done. All right, guys, can we give it up for Leonidas? And let's watch his journey and see how, obviously we'll have him up on stage at Black Salt at the end of the year. So I'm really excited. No pressure, Leonidas, but it'll be great to obviously look at your numbers and so forth and see how you've progressed. And at the very least, if you can, you're well on track to do a PB, right? You're well on track.
Yeah, this year I'm very confident this will be my best year. This is the strongest start to a year I've ever had. And back to the door knocking, if anyone is interested, I've just built a community. There's actually a link in my bio on my Instagram, and my goal of this community is to have a bunch of agents in there that share their experiences with door knocking or what they're struggling with, where not just myself can help, other agents can jump in and critique. And I wanted to get to the point where people are recording their door knocks and posting it in this community, so you can become better at it, more confident at it, and learn from others that are doing it as well.
Love it. When everyone is searching for the next shiny toy, and going back to the absolute fundamental, we know that door knocking and everything, especially around a success story, a just listed or just sold, is the fastest way to get listings. So really well done. Maria, did you want to add something to that?
No, I was just trying to find Leonidas' page, and I just did on Instagram. I just want to say thank you, and I love what you said about the community and learning and giving back. That's phenomenal, because that's what we try to do in our business as well. And I think that's fantastic. Well
Thank
done.
you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations on putting yourself out there and saying, I want to be $1 million agent, and going through the grind to make it happen. No, really well done. That shows commitment. So
we'll get there.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Well done, Leonidas.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. The beautiful Jess Whaites. Those of us from Agents Agency will know this familiar face quite well. She took out every second award at the galas, at the Agents Agency Gala Awards last year. We're so proud of what Jess and her team and B have achieved and the journey that you've taken. But gee, I'm really obviously your journey has been amazing, Jess. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it straight over to you. If you want to just share, obviously, your marketplace, your medium house price, and obviously your sales career and where you are at the moment.
Very easy. Good morning or good afternoon for everyone all over Queensland. So yeah, Jess Whaites, Director of Whaites & Co. Stepped out with Agents Agency, I think about 18 months ago. So I think it was the 1st of November 2023. Since doing that, I think we've definitely hit the million. Townsville as itself is a small regional 200,000 person city. I've just clocked over my 72 sales in the past 12 months. Has been fantastic, and our average sale price in Townsville is sort of 550 to 600. I'm sitting in the low sixes, which is great. And average days on market are about 8, which is quite good, and something I definitely drill into my marketing pretty well. But
yeah, and also just so whilst your average your medium house price is on the lower side to most marketplaces, your commissions are well up there. They're over the 15,000, over 15,000. So three.
Yeah, we do
3%.
average like 3 to 3.3% generally. But again, obviously, if I was doing that on $2 million homes, we would be sitting in this, I'd be on a yacht somewhere. But no, so we do have a higher average sale commission. So once it's about 18,000, obviously making that $1 million mark a little easier. And I just checked, we've just done, as of I think this week, $50 million in sales in the 18 months with Agents Agency.
Yeah,
So that's
really well done. Congratulations. That's
thank you.
Awesome. Really awesome. Okay. So great quote there. I was stuck at 30 sales because I was doing everything. The moment I focused on what I do best, I skyrocketed. What a valuable lesson. And I'll go to the next slide. But did you want to just share on that? Because just share your journey. 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the industry 16 years, since 2009. I have done every which role: PA, co-agent, office management, reception, all of it. So I have a very certain set of skills where I know all the back end stuff. I don't just walk in as an agent and not understand. So I'm very used to be really, really across compliance, marketing, everything, and from a legislative point of view. So I could do that kind of stuff in my sleep. So that allowed me to do the 30 sales without an assistant. Normally it's sort of you get to 20 and need an assistant. I was able to get to 30. And the company I was with were like, no, you don't need an assistant, keep going. And I was like, well, I want to grow, so catch you later. Went to next company, brought on an assistant, very quickly got to 45 sales in the next 12 months. And then obviously the opportunity came out to step with Agents Agency, and now I've had Stephen alongside me since July 23, and then stepped with Agents Agency, as I said, in November 23, and then we've just put Lily, my second assistant, on in January of this year, and we've just actually hired another agent. So it allows me to focus on what I do best, which is making calls and putting deals together. I used to be really good at compliance and marketing and all of those things, but I let other people who are much better at that do that, and allows me to do a bit more of the money-making tasks.
Jess, that's fantastic. And we have a lot of people that always ask about bringing on their first, obviously, assistant on. How many people did you interview, or how many people did you go through until you found the right assistant?
So I had an assistant that was referred to me from a friend of a friend. She came on, she was there for 12 months, but mine wasn't really in it. And I was just lucky, by happenstance, I was at my wife B, I was at a family dinner of hers. Stephen happened to be there because he lived with B's uncle and whatever. And he was in need of a job. He'd come out of retail management. And I was like, let's get a coffee. And then it sort of just sprung from there. And now he's with me for 18 months or more now, which is fantastic. And then Lily was a bit
just an important thing to mention here, guys, is Steve had no experience in real estate.
None.
Are you really happy you put someone on that had no experience?
Yeah, I think so. In the role that we needed, and in the way that, not saying that different agencies that you can bring not bad, or different skills over, or different traits over. I was really happy to work with Stephen and building from the ground up. What would I say? I'm very, very service-based. Like setting a new standard of service is something that we always try to push through, and communication's a really big thing. So being able to teach Stephen that, and that being brought through and pushed through everything that we do, is really important. And then Lily was a bit different. We put that on Seek and it went wild. I think we got like 100 applications. She was actually the only person we interviewed out of all of those, because I had my somebody else sort of do the startup ones and stuff, because obviously our time is important, and brought Lily on. She'd actually come from 2 years experience in a property management base, but wanted to move into sales, and just it's been a fantastic fit for the last 3 months.
Yeah, and it is daunting for people to bring, because, okay, so let's just talk about that, because I think it's an important aspect to highlight. Do you bring someone on that's experienced, or do you bring someone on that has no experience? Because you're a busy agent, and a lot of agents are challenged the time when they bring someone on. How do I train them in my ways, or especially if they're brand new, in everything? What was your key strategy to get Steve, for example, had no experience, up to speed, and how much effort did it take from you?
I would say if you are bringing on someone that doesn't have experience, make sure you've got the time to teach them. Don't do it until like the walls are falling down around you and you're losing listings left, right, and center. Do it before you need it, because by the time you need it, it's much better to have it there. And it also gives you, especially if that person comes from zero.
And we just lost you, Jess, for a little bit. But whilst we're waiting for Jess to come back, guys, I think it's a really important aspect. Don't bring someone into your own chaos. Fix your chaos before you bring someone in, right? Because it will be hard to get them off the ground. And the biggest challenge I see, with agents wanting to build their team, is getting their structure right to actually bring someone on, and there's that consistency in their activities. So chunk down your activities, make sure that you do the 28-day assistant planner that's available from the Black Salt, obviously, portal. Get all your training books and go through that. Look, there's no right or wrong. For me, it's always hiring for DNA. Have they got the right DNA? Aspirations is what you have, and then bring those sorts of people on. But I would much rather, great to have you back, Jess. I
Hi,
would much rather start someone with no experience but has got an appetite to learn and has got great DNA and culturally aligned than someone who's got experience and might carry some bad habits with them. Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, don't be silly.
Still setting up that old internet. But yes.
And how have you structured? Because this is an important one, right? What have you? How have you structured the task? Because you said that all you want to do is list and sell. What's the task that you outsource, or was the best outsourcing that you've given that's freed up your time?
Simple things like pre-settlements, building and pest valuations, those sort of attendance, that's all Stephen now. Anything out of office that isn't an appraisal or a contract signing is basically Stephen. And anything admin space is all Lily.
Guys, how clear is that? Like, how clear is that simplicity? Anything outside
the office that's not contract or
anything in the field that has nothing to do with the contract or negotiation is done by Steve, and anything internal that's administration based is done by Lily now, and frees up your time, but also becomes more enjoyable, and you can handle the ups and downs a lot better. Who does the prospecting in your team?
Stephen and I. So Stephen will do them off the back of open homes, because obviously Stephen attends all the open homes. So he's already got that sort of, it's not a complete cold call. It's like, hey, we met you met us at the open on the weekend. He'll do those. And then anything inbound of based off referral or previous sale, I will do. And yeah, that's sort of how it works at the moment. And there's obviously a different structure of commission around the things that Stephen gets me in the door for.
Love it. And can I ask, what's your goal as a director's, because you're operating a director's EBU? I know you've just hired a standalone agent, Lucas. He's not going to be part of your team, is it? He's a standalone agent as well, which is fantastic. So as a director's EBU, what's your personal goals?
Personal goal for me is myself, 2 co-agents, and Lily. And then obviously Lucas having his own sort of sales EBU himself, an assistant sort of thing. So obviously all under the Whaites & Co brand, all thriving, all putting purple out in the street, which we love. But yeah, really what I want to see, and also because I've got incoming Bub, I want to sort of be able to step back, set, co-agents to let them do theirs, and then be able to take time off, go on family trips and things like that. And that's sort of my sole purpose of the EBU is obviously keeping the business running and the wheels turning without me having to have my finger on the pulse 24/7.
Love it. And that's why you build a director's EBU, or if you're an agent within an office and an EBU, is for one of two reasons. Should be really ideally two reasons. One, to increase volume, right? Increase the volume so that you can afford the staff and it doesn't impact your profit, but at the same time, give you back that freedom. And it's not just the freedom, guys. Like, one thing I've learned about this business, if you get it to a point where a lot of the stuff is being outsourced, you get to enjoy it more. And when you get to enjoy it more, you actually do more. That momentum point comes so quickly. That absolutely invaluable. So, and such a simple structure, right? And I love how at the moment Steve is doing a dual role. He's not just a dedicated buyer's agent. He's not just a dedicated go-to person, client services manager, when it comes to, building and pest and pre-settlement inspections, all those sorts of things. So really well done. And there's never a one size fits all, because the way I look at it as well, it's always about the personality of the individual as well, right? If they're not going to be great on the phone, but they're great on admin, that's where you obviously get them to work in. So really pick. Okay. If you want to go through your points, obviously we've spoken about grow your team, know your worth. What do you mean by that?
So again, these all sort of roll into not the same thing, but they all lead from each other. So growing the team obviously, frees me up to do a bit more of the money making thing. So those appraisals and negotiations on contract, knowing my worth falls into that as well. So I know roughly what I charge out per hour, and it's a lot more than, say, Lily or Stephen. So I understand what's more important for me. Is it going and sitting with a valuer at a property for half an hour, or is it going and putting together $750 million deal? Like, how is that hour spent? So knowing that worth, and having the appropriate people do the appropriate work. Keep educating myself. That is paramount, because I said this to Elise when we were talking. I'm like, if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room. So educating myself is massive. Things like Black Salt, things like ARIC, ongoing podcasts every day. It's just like we never stop learning. And I know that's so cliche and we always say it, but holy crap, just like the little one-liners and the little things I'll pick up here and there from a Panos or a $1 Million Agent podcast, whatever it is, they're pretty much invaluable. Accountability, I think, and this has become more to the forefront of my mind, especially since going out and becoming a director. I don't work for anybody. No one's going to tell me when I need to be in the office. No one's going to tell me what to do except me. So this is again where that motivation and discipline come in. Accountability slides right in there as well. So having people like bringing Lucas on board, and we're going to have our hour of power call sessions. Like, that's a commitment we've made to each other to keep each other accountable, to keep each other on track. And like you said in the first slide, like the numbers don't lie, and it all works from there. So we know what calls we're making. We know what appraisals we're booking. We know what contracts with, listings and contracts. We know what GCI we've got. So, and the last is know your strengths. My strengths used to be my super great compliance and my super attention to detail and all of that. It has shifted over the last, 16 years of doing this job. And it's now having conversations, connecting people with property. And that's where my strengths lie now. So just honing in on those, practicing those every day, and learning and educating myself on getting better at, increasing my strengths there.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, and in summary, it's doing the right things at the right time, with the right people. Doing the right things at the right time with the right people, right? So understanding that you're better off making 1 hour worth of outbound nurturing calls to past clients and past contacts in your database than actually do an evaluation, where a lot of agents use the excuse, I've got to evaluation to be done on a sold property and meeting the valuer there, as opposed to outsourcing that component of your sales process. So how long do you think it took you to get all that processes right, Jess?
16 years and 3 months, and honestly, it's ever evolving. But definitely growing the team is the first. Well, keep educating is always the first step, I guess. But the growing the team, because it frees you to do all of those other things, to to knowing your worth and being like, hey, I could probably do this and earn a lot more over here, or do these phone calls and get these appraisals booked, rather than going to this val where I've got to have an empty conversation with the valuer about the market and blah, 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 blah. Like, it's ever evolving, and but definitely honed in on, especially running the company in the last 12 to 18 months. You learn very quickly what's important and what tasks you should be doing. Like you said, right things at the right time with the right people.
Yeah, love it. And if you're not following Jess Whaites' social pages, please do so. You'll see some consistency there that has really helped solidify her as a go-to agent in the marketplace. Do you believe crossing that barrier, because I call it the momentum point, as we shared on Monday when we had that team training, being $1 million agent, a lot more inbound calls, and it's more the number of
inbound calls, inbound inquiry. There is a lot to be said for that longer the time, and if you can bring that forward, do things by bringing those forward, and that is being a trusted advisor. Know your market. Like, I know how many properties sell in my core area. I know the average days on market. I know my average days on market in that core area. Like, exhaust the crap out of that, and you will bring that momentum shift forward. Like, that big it's over here. You want to bring it forward. You can do those things by building your profile on social, knowing and becoming a trusted advisor, and getting in front of many people as you can. And even if you've got 1 or 2 things in the area, it's started. My core area is Birddale, the suburb here in Townsville. We do roughly 300 sales per year. My very first sale was in Birddale, and I have leveraged the crap out of that sale. And I did for the first 6 months until I built momentum. So whatever you've got, just exhaust it, because people don't care. People don't know. And if they've seen it 3 or 4 times, they don't care. You're trying to reach the other person that hasn't seen it, that is still in that area looking to sell. So bring it forward by exhausting everything you can.
Yeah, team, as I mentioned at the beginning, I've been doing this now for 20 odd years and seeing people's growth, and everyone knows how big I am at the numbers, and these are the numbers, right? On average, when an agent makes a decision to become $1 million agent, and usually it takes between 50 and 70 sales depending on the marketplace, right? The 100 sales, obviously $10,000 average commission, it does take a little bit longer, but the 50 to 70 with an average commission of about 15 to 20 odd $1,000, because that plays an important role. You know, if your average commission in your marketplace is low, it's going to take you a lot longer, right? So don't obviously the self-talk that we and of course, there's some marketplaces people do 20 sales and they're doing $1 million because the average commission, $50,000. It's horses for courses. Remember that, right? So understand your numbers. But on average, it takes most agents, those that aspire to be $1 million agent, 3 years to get to the $1 million mark, right? We have seen it on a number of occasions where people are doing it in a year, right? So it is possible depending on your marketplace. And if you leverage, as you said, Jess, the crap out of every single listing that you do, and do that discipline and consistency to get to that $1 million mark, or 50 sales or 100 sales, it can be really the time frame shortened enormously. Okay, Max asked a question: does Jess work from an office or home? Jess, do you want to? Great question. Great question.
As of last Thursday, we moved into an office. So for the first 12 months of Whaites & Co, I happened to be in a very unique position where I owned a unit right in the CBD, still obviously own it. So Stephen and I worked out of there. But that came very, very, very claustrophobic, I guess, as soon as we bought Lilian. But we've just got this beautiful waterfront office that we moved into last Thursday. So hence why we don't have internet yet, but we're getting there. Hotspotting's all the way.
Just so everyone's aware, so that unit was just a residential unit that you worked out of.
Just a resi unit. We just ran keys downstairs.
No shop front, no
shop front, no anything for the first 12 months.
Yeah. And the reason you work from there is because obviously it's a better, obviously having Steve there as well instead of working out of your home. But technically speaking, it's working out of home. So again, guys, it does. You don't need an office to be $1 million agent. It's all about your prospecting. All right. Thank you so much. Can we give it up for Jess? Any questions before we move on to Paul? Anyone like to ask Jess any questions? And for that matter, Leonidas as well. All good? Okay. So next, Paul Organtzidis. We've had the pleasure of knowing Paul for many, many years. And Paul actually started working for us. We're in Flaky Jake's Fish and Chips. So he was a young tacker, 13, I think you were 14 when you first started with us. We employed you underage, I'm pretty sure.
About 14, I think.
What a journey, Paul.
What a journey. And we've absolutely loved these guys and his beautiful wife, Gina, and his 3 beautiful boys. So we certainly feel part of the family with the P&G team and watching his journey from hospitality into real estate. And he's done it tough. There's no question, because when Paul first started his career with us, he chose a patch that was how many kilometers away from the Frankston office? This is before YB, before everything. So how many?
It was half an hour drive.
So it was a half-hour drive, no office, no nothing. So you started from there. But I won't steal your thunder, Paul. If you want to just share your story, and I love this way. If I had believed I could do $1 million earlier, I would have hit it so much sooner. The biggest barrier was my own self-belief. But if you just want to start it in 2010, do you want me to go through your numbers?
Yeah, if you've got them, yeah.
I'll let Paul share his story first, I think. Please.
Okay.
Yeah, 2010, I think it was May that I had started. And for some reason I picked, half an hour away from the Frankston office. We knew that we were going to open an office eventually in Narre Warren. So picked a patch in Narre Warren South. It was an area of roughly 1,200 homes, and door knocking, learning real estate from scratch and being on commission only was a really nice concoction of a crash course in real estate.
Was?
But anyway, now we're here where we are, and grateful for the journey and where we've come so far. So
yeah, and it's really unique. If you really think about Paul, if you're going to do it tough, he's picked the toughest journey, away from an office, no presence, no nothing. So and totally brand new in real estate. So 2010, you wrote 86,000 in your first year. The following year, 160. Third year, 180. 160 in 2014. So four years of really just doing the grind. That was 2004. 2015, you got to 340,000. So now you're making some inroads. 216, 580. 217, 780. 218, 960. You must have been spewing that year. 40K short of the million. And of course, 2019 was your PB. 1.1 million. Your first time you cracked it. 1.1 million. So congratulations. So it's 9 years in the making to become $1 million agent, and obviously you've been doing $1 million. I think you had 1 or 2 years that may have fallen short a little bit opening up the office, but you're consistently doing over $1 million. So talk us through that, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the slow approach. I mean, there's people that are out there doing it a lot quicker now. Are we allowed to mention names?
Yeah, of course you can.
Obviously, we want to say things like you can't write $1 million in your first year, but then someone like Josh Tesselin comes out of the ranks and does it in something like 8 months. So anyway, he's a freak in the business. So for me, it was like a big learning curve, but it was a brand new brand. So when we were eView, no one knew us out here. So it was a matter of getting my name out there, getting the brand name out there, and obviously building trust, and that takes time. But I implemented the method of like farm area, and I really did work that one farm area. So
before you go on to there, can we ask was there a self-belief issue there? If I had believed I could do $1 million earlier,
Yeah.
or hit it so much sooner, do you think that was?
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely. Like I remember when I hit 400,000, I remember it hitting me in the head going, I never thought I could do this. I never thought I could reach 400,000. And then you see 650 or 750 and you go, but then once you've done the figures, you sort of go, all they are is transactions. And if I want to do more, I just got to do more. But I think, yeah, I can't recall anyone, for example, tapping me on the shoulder in my first year going, you're going to be $1 million agent one day. Now, I don't know if that would have changed anything, but it was sort of like we were doing the figures and then we'd look back and go, did we just do that kind of thing? It wasn't sort of I'm going to hit $1 million next year kind of mindset.
So do you think that's important for an agent if that's what they want to do?
I think so. I think it might have given me a little bit more, in the times where motivation fails you, it might have given me a little bit more motivation to push, go, just keep going. It's going to come. Just keep going. We're almost there. So it was almost trying to break the disbelief of being able to do it.
Could have been because that wasn't really that important to you. I mean, you know, in the time frame that you have done all of this, you guys have had 3 babies, so you know
Yeah, that's true.
a dad. You've bought properties. You've got a big office now. You became like there's a mix of things that you do. It's not just that one
That's
number.
true.
So I think, you know, sometimes people just focus on that, and I know that's what, you know, obviously the training is about today, but it's a combination of things, I feel sometimes.
Yeah, and you're right, Maria. You just reminded me of probably a lull in motivation that I had through that journey was my biggest goal was to buy my first home. So I think I worked really, really hard to buy the first home. And then my second goal is once I do that, because my mum has been renting for many, many years, is I want to buy a second home so my mum can live in our first home.
That's right.
And I remember achieving that second goal and then going, oh, what am I doing this for now? I've done what I wanted to achieve. And then you sort of have to find the next thing that motivates you and keep moving forward.
Yeah. No, well said.
Yeah, no, really well said. And so you work the farm area, dominate that area, get that that momentum point happening where you start getting inbound calls. Don't give up. What are your no's like?
Yeah, so for me, it took me 6 months to get my first listing. And I think that's a pretty long time, especially being commission only. And I remember applying maybe 4 months into my real estate career, applying for jobs at Coles and Safeway just so I can get cash flow going. And back then there were so many people applying for the role that there was like a 2-month delay. Anyway, in December, I'm pretty sure it was in December, I managed to sign 3 listings in 1 month, my first month that I was listing properties. And signed up the 3 listings. I think I sold a couple within a week or 2. And then a call came in from the Coles recruitment company going, hey, we're calling you for a job at Coles. And I said, Coles? I said, I'm a real estate agent. I don't need to do a job at Coles. But it's funny. So don't give up. There were a lot of times where I said, do I really want to do this? Obviously, it's a hard task. There was a lot of door knocking at the start when we talk about farm area. And many times I tell my team now, it gives me what's the word? I can empathize with my team that's doing it tough in the grind and prospecting, because I tell them about times where I would park my car knowing that I had to get out and door knock, but I just sit there and cry. Literally, it sounds funny saying it, but I would cry in my car because I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to push myself to go to my comfort zone and door knock, but you just have to work past that and just keep going and believe that it's building up to something bigger.
Paul, can I just say how invaluable that is? Because this business has a funny way of building character. And when you go through the highs and the lows of such a journey, you really start to appreciate what it takes, what's important, and what it actually takes to break through. And I'm sure through those lessons, when you're facing other challenges now in life, because the challenges never stop, we just get better at dealing with them. So it doesn't get easier. We just get better at dealing with it. And, you know, I can say that hand on heart, 40 years in business, and they you just get better at handling it. It doesn't, the challenges don't stop. So really invaluable. And there's a price you have to pay for it. And you have to be focused on the goal. And what you just mentioned about setting those goals for yourself, buying your own home, buying a home for your mum to live in and so forth. They're really, really important to understand your why. Love it. Play the long game.
Yeah, so I was quite fortunate. I think my two biggest trainers that I resonated with, you can call them coaches, but they didn't coach me directly, just listen to their training. At the start was Matt Steinwade and Mark, I forgot his name now. It'll come to me. But basically, Matt Steinwade was very farm area focused. So pretty much, and if anyone's new listening to this, I'll just tell you what I found. So my farm area was 1,188 homes. I remember that number. It's an easy one to remember. My goal was every single week to every house to receive a letterbox drop from me. I actually used to do 2 a week at the same time. I just listed and just sold. The goal was to door knock and meet everybody, and to have pointer boards out every single week, whether I had a listing or not. They just point in every direction, and eventually people get lost, but they say that I had a house somewhere that I didn't have. So that's one thing I did in my farm area. But the playing the long game part was something that I heard which stuck with me, and then it basically built all my prospecting methods. Was that at any given time, there's only about 2% of the population that are thinking of selling right now. So when we think about all our prospecting activities, when we go out and do door knocking and you door knock 100 homes or you make 100 phone calls, out of those 100, there would only be roughly 2 people that are thinking of selling right now. And what this trainer said, he goes, all of our marketing material and all of our conversations are built around finding the 2%. But what we're doing is we're letting the 98% fall through our fingers and not building relationships with them. So looking for the now seller rather than the future seller. So that's what I changed really early on. And I started focusing on the 98%. So I never did any letterbox drop saying, are you thinking of selling? Because I just think that's a silly question. Because in my eyes, people don't think of selling. They think of upsizing. Selling is the solution. Or they think of moving closer to work. Selling is the solution. So what I mean by that 98%, so when I used to go door knocking, I would never ask for an appraisal or ask if they're thinking of selling. I'd say something along the lines of, hi guys, my name's Paul. I'm from EView Real Estate back then. I'm just coming past to introduce myself because I don't think we've met before, have we? And then they go, no. And no is an easy answer for them to say. I said, great. Well, that's why I'm here. Now that we've got that out of the way, I just wanted to let you know of a property that has just sold up the road. I delivered CMAs with basically the last 5 or 10 sales to them. And I'd say, I give one of these to every single person in the area in this estate every 3 months for free. I hand one over and I said, would you like to receive this every 3 months for free? And they go, what's the catch? Nothing. I said, it's just an opportunity for us to build a relationship and me give you value over the years until you're ready. So that was, I think, what meeting that person then, and then the long game is about when that person was ready to sell. Not everyone's selling now. So whether they were in 4 years time or 2 years time, they would then most likely call me in. And that's where I think it took 4 years for my figures to take off.
Yeah, love it, Paul. And I think if everyone can understand what is happening there, because we talk about building the high impact and the wipeout activities, and the high impact activities doing the right things at the right time with the right people that give you the best results. E.g., Leonidas mentioned the best time to be door knocking is around a for sale board or a sold board. And it's 90% more effective than just doing a cold door knock in a street with no reason, right? We know that. So it's a high impact activity. The wipeout activity is to get those names, to start building those relationships. And I talk to everyone in regards to their client engagement strategy. What's your client engagement strategy? Which is your anniversary strategy per property? Because people don't want to be harassed by real estate agents. And the more people that you have on your client engagement strategy, and if you haven't implemented it, you've got to implement it. Who's implemented the client engagement strategy using the property anniversary as their connection point? Right? So Paul, you do that on a monthly basis. How do you work your anniversary strategy?
So I don't do it to people that haven't bought off us. I know that George
Yep.
had, and he got a lot of success. And I hadn't implemented it for the first 7 or 8 years. So, but now I have. Why? Because I got somebody else to do it. Because if it was up to me, I wouldn't have done.
Love it, Paul. I think that's so important, and that's an anniversary. Are you making phone calls? Do you collate a list before the beginning of the month, or?
So we've inputted what we call them DNAs, a string of tasks that are automated that a database does. So every single year, the client will get a SMS sent out to them without us even thinking, and we just see replies. And those text messages are like, "Hey, Brad, it's been 4 years since you purchased your home. The market's changed a lot. If there's ever a time where you needed anything, feel free to reach out." And then we get replies saying, "Could I get an updated appraisal, please?"
Yep, love it. Do you send out a card, an anniversary card?
No, I don't.
Okay.
That's the amount of times I say to my team, let's just get something done. Let's not let perfect get in the way of done.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So it's not perfect yet, but it is something that I didn't have.
Yeah. Team, I shared this at our training session on Monday with the Townsville team. The power is in the follow-up. The power is in the follow-up. So we can make those phone calls, but the most important follow-up is what we call the just a note to say card or the anniversary card. And I'd much rather everyone do less calls and send out the card than do a heap of calls and not send anything, because your cut through is going to be 9 times out of 10 much better. Right? Think about it. So Paul, I can encourage you to add that anniversary card step to it, right? Please don't take it as a criticism. It's just constructive. I just know that is the game changer, absolute game changer. And when you're building a team, right, just get it done. Just a note. We mentioned it, Jess, on Monday. I hope that was a big light bulb moment for everyone, because it is that simple thing. Follow it up with a just a note to say card. Trust me, it will change the game for you. It really will. And what's my saying? Try it for a day. Try it for a day. Just do it for 1 month and see what response you get.
Yeah.
But it's still working for you. So again, team, I mention all these things, and I don't want everyone to think, "Oh, I'm not doing it, then I'm not achieving my results." You are achieving the results. Obviously, you're doing $1 million. So
I know you're right. You know why? When I was, and you mentioned Michael Spillane, the nose. When I was prospecting those first 6 months of doing telemarketing, I had a guy hang up the phone telling me to F off, right? And he literally said F off and he hung up the phone. And I must have told people in the office back then, and they said, "Oh, write him a thank you card." So I wrote him a thank you card. And I said, "Hi, Bruno, Paul from PG Real Estate. Just want to say thank you so much for your time on the phone. If there's ever anything you need in future, here's my business card. Please give me a call." And he held on to that for 6 months. 6 months later, he called me. He goes, "Do you remember me?" And it took me a while. I'm like, "Yep." He goes, "I'm ready to sell. Can you come sell my house? I really like that you sent me that card."
Guys, and these are the little things that, like, I've got goosebumps. I am telling you, it's the game changer, right? It is absolute game changer. And just, am I saying, try it for a day. Just try it for a day and see what happens. So just, if it's April, anniversaries will be done this week and next week, yeah? So anyone in your database that has settled a property, bought a property in April, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, doesn't matter. Congratulations, Paul. Can you believe it's been 3 years since you purchased a property in Narre Warren South, blah, blah, blah. But it should start with a phone call. Starts with a phone call. "Hey, Paul, hope you're well. No need to call me back." And you hope to get the message bank. Just ringing you to wish you a happy 3-year anniversary. Hang up the phone. They'll listen to the voicemail and then send off just a note to say card or just a anniversary card. I'm telling you, it will be the game changer for you, right? And I'd rather you do 20 of those and make, instead of 200 phone calls, right? So do that. Love it. Host community events. This is a big one for you.
Yeah, so we got our 11th Easter egg hunt. We've noticed it's grown into a monster. So we've stopped calling it an Easter egg hunt. It's now called a carnival. And the reason why I think when people see hunt, they think about 20 to 40 kids. We've already got, this one's coming up in 2 weeks' time. We've already got 1,000 kids registered for it, plus the kids that rock up on the day that don't register prior. So it's going to be a massive event. Yeah, so that's one event that we hold. It's a bit annoying because now the community expects it. So we try to take a year off, and we got so many messages on Facebook saying, when's the hunt this year and why haven't you done one? So we're like, right, now we have to do one every year.
Yeah.
But no, it's really good. So we've always been like, give back to the community. I think real estate agents, we've done a really good job on social media, showing everyone our nice Lamborghinis and Rolex watches. And they just think that we're money hungry business people. So we've done a real effort to try and connect with the community and say, look, we're just people just like you, and give back to the community. And the Easter egg hunt is probably the biggest one that we do. There's a couple of others as well. And then throughout the year, you just hear people saying, oh, we would only ever use you guys because of all the work that you do in the community. So
yeah, love it. And I think the thing there, Paul, is that consistency. If you're doing it on a yearly basis, people are expecting it, but what a great way. It is a big commitment. I always say to people, when you do the community thing, do you intend on doing it forever? If you don't, I suggest you don't do it, because it is a big commitment and it is become expected, but it does leverage, because this year's Easter carnival, and great segue to a carnival instead of an Easter egg hunt, amplifies all the previous years that you've done. Whereas if you just stopped it now, they're going to forget you. They're going to forget you. And just by putting it on, you're not going to get everyone to attend, but just by putting it on, it brings brand awareness. So really, really, really well done. Okay. I'm conscious of time. I'd like to see, so any questions? I'm going to stop share. Any questions? Because I want to go around the room, especially obviously from our guests today, the top 3 things that you think that will get someone what would you say to yourself when you first started real estate? Let's just pretend from the very first day you wanted to be $1 million agent. What are the 3 things that you would do in regards to becoming $1 million agent? And we just got one question from Julie. Oh, can we ask the cost and some specifics reorganizing the Easter carnival, please, Paul?
I love you, Julie. She is the first one to can you talk to us about where do you get all your good ideas all the time? She's got a saying.
Rip off and duplicate, baby. R&D, honey.
I love you. I love how quickly you jump on things, though. It's just beautiful.
She's an implementer.
She is an implementer. She definitely is.
Every year it grows more and more. I think right now we're close to $30,000 for this event. We managed to get $10,000 or $11,000 in sponsorship.
That's good.
This year, which is the biggest sponsorship we've had.
What the fuck?
Yep. Yeah, and we also sell tickets on the day. So
it's massive, Julie. It's thousands of. How many people, Paul?
It's over 1,000 kids.
1,000 kids plus the parents that will come. So if we hadn't done any ever, and we tried to do the event we're doing now, I think it'd be impossible. But because it's sort of been a build up, you're like, okay, next year we'll add this, and next year we'll add this. And it sort of grew from 40 kids to 80 to 150 to, so it was a gradual growth, which is good. It was lucky for us. So it wasn't a big, don't look at the $30,000 and go, oh my God, that's big. How will I do that? Your first one won't be $30,000.
Yeah, it always adds up. And look, return on investment, Paul, what do you believe it's giving you a return? Can you quantify? Because sometimes it's difficult to quantify or measure the ROI on these events.
Yeah, it is hard to quantify. The thing that fills our hearts most is when we're sitting in a lounge room and people go, we're very, they don't say we're grateful, but they go, we notice all the work you do in the community. So that sort of goes, oh, it is worth it.
Yeah.
We'll do notice.
Yeah. And sometimes you've got to do these things on a feel-good basis too. And
Of
I'll make
course.
you feel a little bit better too, Paul. It doesn't really cost you 30 grand. It's only costing you about 15, because if you never spent the 30 grand, you would have paid 15,000 to the tax man.
Yeah.
So
I
just to
think
make
I
you
thi-
feel a
I
little bit better.
I think the main point here, and I know how well the guys do this event, is just to pick one event that you're well known for in your area and just do that one event.
Yeah.
And people connect you with that every single year, rather than trying to do bits and pieces, smaller things, and in all different directions. And you're well known for the Easter egg hunt. I mean, I remember when you first started it, it was just simple, but it was still very successful and lots of people coming. But you would just have a marquee. Is that right? You would throw some eggs out. Like, tell us the difference in between your first one and now. Like, it's huge. Now
Yeah.
you've vendors and yeah.
Yeah, the first one would have only had, I'm pretty sure we had 20 kids.
Yeah.
So that's what, 10 families maybe. We had a barbecue and we were turning sausages under a marquee. We had someone doing face painting, but it was just 20 kids. And then, yeah, now, if anyone, I guess, I don't know what the best way to say it. If anyone's local, feel free to come down next weekend. If you want to actually, if anyone wants to look it up, I'll give you the website for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've done a website for it. Yeah. Well done. Okay.
Amazing.
So just as we wrap up today's session, 3 things, and of course we've got some other $1 million agents in the session today. So it's great to sort of see other always obviously high performing agents always wanting to improve. So there's a sign in itself. What's the 3 things that you would say to yourself back when you first started real estate to obviously become $1 million? What advice would you give to yourself when you first started? I love Elisa's one. Live in how do you make it fair and stop the eggs? Live in Victoria.
Live in Victoria.
I just got that one. Okay, so across the room, Jess, go for it.
Ask more questions.
Ask more questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that you mentioned on Monday's session as well. And ask more questions. Really
Yeah.
get interested in someone else and ask more questions. Okay, Paul, what's the one thing that you would do?
I'd have to say, yeah, don't give up. Do the grind, and you'll get there.
Do the anniversary strategy.
I'll implement that, man. It's just for you.
From day one, the anniversary. Team, I am telling you, most underrated strategy.
I've got a CSM now, so I'll delegate that.
Absolutely. Love it. Leonidas, I know you haven't hit the $1 million mark, but the one thing that you'd say to yourself, you've been doing a lot of grind back when you first start.
Prospecting is the only thing that matters. Don't waste your energy on saving listings. Focus on replacing them. And it's really easy to get caught up when you got a shit vendor. It's really high expectations, and you just waste so much energy to try to save a deal, and then you don't, and then you go, "Fuck! I could have gotten 3 listings with the hours I put into that." So that'd be one of the biggest things I tell myself.
Oh, what great advice that is to a newbie. What some great advice there, because we do focus, once we get a listing, all we want to do is sell it. But sometimes we know we may have a challenging property, challenging vendor, and it takes us away from the most important thing, which is prospecting, which really means how many appraisals are you doing on a weekly basis. Any other pearls of wisdom from those that within the session today? Maria, what would you say to yourself?
Oh, I'm not on mute while I'm trying to do social media. Thank you. While our social media girl is not here. What would I say to myself? Look, I think I've said this many times. I would database more efficiently when we first started. I think, or I would actually, no, let me rephrase that. I would put on a PA pretty much straight away rather than trying to do everything myself from the beginning. I think that's what I would do differently if I had to start real estate again.
100%.
Yeah.
Look, there's 100 things, but they're not all
To do the
complicated
things that you're not good at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Build a team around you.
Yeah. Database really, really effectively. Have a
Mm.
really great, simple client engagement strategy that just gets done. That includes just a note to say cards and anniversary cards. That's number two, right? Understand the numbers. Just really understand the numbers of your sales business. Once you understand that, you are laughing. Be a value giver, not a value taker. Value giver, i.e., be market knowledgeable in everything that you do, so that you can give informed advice, so you become that attraction agent. Because the whole goal of becoming $1 million agent is really, the title really should be, how do you become an attraction agent to make it easier for people to select you as the go-to agent. So really well done. And look, just to finish off, I'll just share my screen again. All right. Just to finish off, can we give a big round of applause to all our guest speakers today and everyone that's contributed? A big thank you, guys. We highly value everyone's time, and obviously I'm hoping everyone got value out of today's session, and we always do. There's some real light bulb moments in there. So a big thank you from us. Remember to start using your Black Salt AI coach. Team, this is invaluable. I'm getting feedback almost on a weekly basis from people who are actually using it, and they're helping them in role play, helping them get all the documents. So for example, I mentioned the 28-day assistant planner, yeah? 28-day assistant planner. What you can do now is go to your AI coach and ask it and say, hey, can you please email me the 28-day assistant planner? And it will email it to you. Remember, this AI coach gets to know you. You can do its role play. Email me the sales agent sales framework. Email me the 28-day, the 2025 prospecting calendar. So you can ask it to email your work.
Has anybody used it from the team?
It's really invaluable. And then, of course, the role playing. What sort of transcripts? Someone was saying to me, I think it was Andy Thorpe who called me. He goes, Manos, I got stuck on anniversary calls and I didn't know what to say. So he goes, you know what? I'll just ask Black Salt AI coach, and said, I'm kind of stuck. What should I be saying? And gave him a whole bunch of dialogue to say that on anniversary calls. So, and the more you use it, the more it gets to know you. So it's available for every Black Salt team member. Leonidas, you can have access to this. So George, can you organise access for Leonidas to get this? And of course, obviously, all the past trainings available. Just want to talk, and all the workbooks, etc. Just next May session, team, is Thursday, the 1st of May. So I'll come around quick. Needle moving dialogue. It'll be hosted by Tom Panos, Joel Hood, and Jared Carmen, right? So Joel Hood, Jared Carmen, and hosted by Tom Panos. Needle moving dialogue, which is obviously something, the latest dialogues people are using to help them win business. So please put it in your diary. This one's going to be a ripper. Myself and Maria are away that day, so we'll be overseas, so we're not going to be attending, but obviously we'll have Elise, Arthur, to facilitate the session with host Tom Panos. And of course, May the 22nd, volume is vanity, profit is sanity, more for the business owners. It is a change of time. It is 4:30 till 5:30. So if we can just change that, Elise, on the schedule, because I'll be overseas at the time, so we'll push it a little bit forward. So yeah, just be mindful, lock it in your diaries, guys. Love to see as many people there. All right.
Well, I'll get George to email everyone again the logins. You just log in with your email, and I'm not sure. Anyway, but I'll get George to email the whole team.
Yeah, guys, I'll resend an email which will have all your username, which will be your email address, and generate a password. So then once you log in, you can create your own password.
We can't hear you very well,
Can't hear
George.
you,
Yeah.
George.
You'll send an email. That's okay.
Okay, cool. Team, any last questions at all? All good? Again,
Thank
another
you.
big round of applause to the team.
Thank you, everyone.
For presenting. Thank you so much for your time, guys. And of course, reach out if you need anything. Let's all have a PB. Let's all have a cracking April. March finished off really strong for many, many agents, which is great on FM, October, November, February, March. But I think it's leading up into April as well. I can see the market is still going to be strong throughout this period. But you wait till October, November. I believe October, November will be the busiest. We'll be back to a really hot market. So, and Julio's best advice: surround yourself with an amazing tribe. Absolutely, the Black Soul tribe, AA tribe, all that.
Thank
all
you,
right, guys.
You're
Again,
amazing.
Paul, Jess, Leonidas, thank you so much
Thank you.
for your time. Really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Cheers.
everyone. Have a great
Hi
day.
guys, thank you very much for having me.
Be
Thank
good.
you.
Bye.